could have been. I think he might have been. You might be
Yeah, I
right
thought he
about
was
that.
for a little bit.
All right, Joey, I want to know what you think about the Cowboys because I know you were just so excited to talk about this Cowboys team, this Cowboys offense, and I want you to talk about the Commanders as much as you can in between.
So I guess to preface this, the Washington Wizards are who I thought they were. Not a competitive football team, but to preface that as well, it's like I get they didn't have their top 3 receivers and all that. That doesn't change. That doesn't change what the Cowboys offense did to the Commanders defense today. I don't know, just unloaded on them today. They were unstoppable for the most part the whole game. And I wanted to add that in Dallas's first 3 home games, they've dropped 40-plus points all 3 games. The offense is just clicking at a level that I can't say I've seen before. George Pickens is a monster. Javonte Williams is surprisingly a monster. He has to be the most underrated pickup of the offseason for any team, I'd imagine. He is currently, I guess you could say Rico Dowdle in the same breath because he's 3rd in the league in rushing, but Javonte's 2nd. But to talk about the Commanders, it's just they couldn't do much in the passing game today. They couldn't run the ball today. The running part was the most surprising. But I guess when you don't have your top 3 receivers, Dallas' defense can key on the run game and try and stop that. And that's a lot simpler than having Debo and Terry on the field, I imagine. But, yeah, just we kicked their ass today, to tell you the truth. And it's cool, but it's sad at the same time how dominant this offense is with the defense it's paired with. That's what's disappointing in the long run of things.
I want to say, I think, I agree. The offense is amazing. I think with Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel in this game, I think we're looking at a Giants Saints 2014, Cowboys Broncos 2013.
I'm talking about Cowboys Giants this year.
Huh?
Cowboys Giants this year. It's probably the same type of deal.
I think it's even worse than that. I mean, the Giants offense with Russell Wilson. I mean, yeah, we had neighbors, but we're doing that with Wandale and our terrible offensive line. I mean, this Commanders offensive line isn't great, but it's not a problem. If you have Terry and Debo, and Jaden, all along with this, run game threatening every portion of this Cowboys defense, I see no reason why this game doesn't go back and forth and get to like 45-38, 45-41, some score like that. I don't know who would win. It would come down to who screws up first on offense, probably. So I just want to say that. I think you're right. The Commanders' defense has been vulnerable. That was our concern coming into this season. I think we saw that. And then also Jaden Daniels pulling his hamstring again, getting a really nasty-looking tackle on his leg, kind of getting twisted up. Thank God it didn't seem to be some kind of knee ligament injury. We'll find out more, but looks like he might miss the following week. And that was in like the 3rd quarter. Cowboys were up probably 10 points, I think, at that time. So still probably we're going to win.
It was probably I think we were up around 10. It was a 2-score game at that time. But when the game started, it was like we got the ball first, we scored first, and then I was like, okay, this is the Wizards. This is the Washington Wizards. This is who they are. And then after I said that, or I thought that, we forced when they go like 4th and 2, they're going to go for it. They have an offsides. They got to punt the ball like 4th and 6. Mm-hmm. And it's a perfect punt, puts them at the 1-yard line. Next play is a safety. So it's 7-2. And then the next drive, I think they go right down the field, score touchdown. So then it's 8-2, I think. And then they go for 2 and they fail. Yeah, they fail. And I'm like, wow, that was quite a switch right there. But then
the backup was Marcus Mariota, right?
In mid-3rd quarter was Mariota. But then at that point, Dallas was scoring pretty much every drive, field goals. They took the lead back the next drive, and then after that, they ran away with the game. But the Commanders, they were handicapped, but a win's a win. Another thing I want to talk about, Dak Prescott, last 4 games. He has a 71.4 completion percentage. He has 14 touchdowns and 0 turnovers. I don't think there's a quarterback playing better than Dak right now. And I'm not trying to be biased. It's pretty obvious when you look at what he's doing on the field. He's unstoppable. And I don't think it matters what team he plays. That's why I'm pretty interested to see what the Rams or the Broncos look like this week.
Yeah, that's
also to add to that. Game. Yeah, also to add to that, Dak Prescott is the only quarterback since 1933 to throw for 20 passing touchdowns and 0 turnovers at home against a single opponent. It's the most passing touchdowns at home without an interception in any matchup. And the previous record was Tom Brady, 18 touchdowns, no turnovers versus Steelers. So we own the Commanders.
Is this just at home versus the Commanders? What's the stat again?
Yes. The stat at home against the Commanders, he has 20 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's like
a single player versus another opponent when they're at their home stadium.
Yes.
Probably a divisional opponent because you got to verse them twice a year, or once guaranteed a year.
Another thing, Dak Prescott at home, his winning percentage is 91.3 against the NFC East. He's 6-1 at home against the Eagles, 8-1 against the Giants at home, and then he's 7-0 against the Commanders. So I don't understand how this guy is not considered a top 4 quarterback. That's kind of where I'm at.
Top 4 quarterback?
There's Pat, Allen. You could say Lamar. I don't agree with it. Then there's Dak. Outside of those 4,
they never added Burrow to that conversation.
Yeah, dude. Burrow's playoff performance has to have him above Dak, I think.
You can't be talking about Burrow anymore like that.
You mentioned how much of a shame it is that Dak has this defense and he's got this, this offense humming the way it is. I don't know that Burrow's ever had the Bengals offense as like, besides last year, like a top 3 offense. But just hold on. But to remove the offensive line too. Dak's had some mid offensive lines over the past 3 years. It's better now. But how can you not look at what Burrow's done without the defense, just like Dak, without the offensive line? And if you want to say the Bengals defense overperformed in the playoffs, sure, but the offensive line, I mean, how are you not looking at what Burrow did, through the AFC playoffs, and you're just not even considering that.
The thing we're not prefacing here is that you guys try to compare Dallas to that one year with the Bengals, where I think it's the complete opposite, because that is an outlier year for the Bengals, where Dallas has multiple years in a row being number 1 offensive football points per game. That was their one year where they were like Dallas. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. That's kind of how it should be looked at.
He threw 43 touchdowns, and they had the worst defense in the league. And then 2 years before that, when he was healthy, they were a play away from going back to the Super Bowl. So it's not like it was just that year that Burrow's had this success. In fact, the way I look at it is Burrow's only issue is he's fragile. So far, his track record is made the Super Bowl, game away from the Super Bowl, really like a play away, and then 1 game away from going into the playoffs. And I think once again, probably could have beat that Chiefs team that made it this year to the Super Bowl and would have lost to the Bengals. I get that didn't happen, but I see that is he's going deep, getting screwed by his defense, or he's injured for the season. I think if you want to say, he gets injured a lot, sure, but he's got a horrible offensive line, just like Andrew Luck. So
Dak just needs to have one of those playoff runs, what he really is missing.
You're right. He needs to. This offense needs to show up the way it is now in the playoffs against playoff defenses. And I think this is the best. This might be better than the 2021 offense with the run game you guys have. So
this is the best offense of Dak's career, I would say.
If you guys make the playoffs, I'll understand the defense. But if Dak has a bunch of turnovers, a lot of what I said in my video defending him, I'm not going to say I'm going to take it away, but it's just going to add like a, man, you had a chance. But we'll see.
I think to add to that, though, is that I think what makes this offense different from years past is just George Pickens and how much he unlocks everything. Because you can't take away one receiver. You just can't focus on one guy. Where previously it was Cooper and CD, but they weren't on the level, I feel like, what CD is now today, and then Pickens. I feel like there's 2 number 1s, where that was a 1 and 2 back then.
Who was
and another thing I wanted to say, I would probably say CD was the 2 for his rookie year. Yeah, at the time he was the 2, and Amari Cooper was a guy who disappeared all the time in big games. He was never a guy that popped off in he owned the Eagles when we played the Eagles, but other than that, he would disappear when he needed the most. Another thing I wanted to say about Dak, give him his flowers. Dak Prescott is the 6th player all time with 40 games with 3 touchdown passes in his first 10 seasons, and he joins the list of Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Pat Mahomes. Mahomes being on there is pretty cool. because he's a little bit younger. And then Aaron Rodgers and then Russell Wilson. Those are the only 6 QBs with 40 games with 3 touchdown passes or more in their first 10 years.
So I guess
that's a list.
I guess a hater would point to Russell Wilson there. Right.
A hater would point to Russell Wilson, but that just shows you how good. That's what shows you how good he was in Seattle.
He was great in Seattle. I never spoke badly about his years in Seattle. I said my hottest take on Russell Wilson is I think Stafford's a better Hall of Famer candidate.
I find it kind of crazy that everybody wants to take away his Hall of Fame thing because of how he's doing on the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's dumb. I feel like
it is very dumb. All right, are we ready to?
So I did have a question, of course, for the Cowboys. My only question. So, Joey, to your point beforehand, you said a win is a win. That's all that matters usually at the end of the situation. So, I guess my question is because I know you've mentioned in the past beforehand about like Hurts and the Eagles and their consistency and all this stuff throughout the teams and their win percentages and everything. So, I guess my question is like the year that, because I know you say like Hurts should basically be a top 16 kind of quarterback. I guess so. It's like the years of him winning plus 2022, where if I remember, it's been known as a Mickey Mouse kind of run, extremely easy schedule, and by the way, handicap teams, over and over again.
The playoff run. I just want to say the playoff run really solidified that.
Playoff run, absolutely just. Going through teams that basically were not built and not able to show the team's true capability. So I guess what makes this situation, I guess, that much different? Because you guys played the Packers, dropped 40, gave 40. That's a good team. You played a Commanders team with basically not their starting quarterback for the rest of the game. And no weapons besides Zach Ertz, who I love him to death, but he's been ran through at this point. He's hurting. Krusky Merritt, and it's like
Chris Moore.
And I guess my question is like how good can the defense do if the offense can't do jack? Which we've all explained before in the past of like defenses could be elite, but you get tired if you keep getting 3 and out. So it's like
it's on the Cowboys offense to score every drive, or else the game will be out of hand potentially with how bad the defense is. But we've seen them do that this year. But this is probably shaping up to be just like the Bengals last year of Dak probably having like 40 plus touchdowns and they've missed the playoffs on the last game of the year. That's probably what's going to happen.
You guys didn't start like 0-4 or whatever they started though. That's fair.
Yeah, but right now we're 3-1 when we could easily be. With any type of, if we had just the 31st ranked defense, we're probably 5-1 right now.
I'm saying you're in better shape because they also had a poor offensive line in addition to their defense. So like, you guys can actually run the ball, whereas they can't do that. It wasn't just the defense; it was like you're asking Burrow to chew the clock with short passing games, in addition to be explosive offense. So like, Dak doesn't necessarily have to carry the entire load on offense because the offensive line can give them a complimentary run game. And that's proven through your guys' record. You've been able to close out some games, whereas they lost to the Patriots last year with Gerard Mayo week 1 and then went like 0-3. I think they maybe even went 0-4. No, they beat the Giants in week 4, I think. Yeah, so they were 0-3. You guys are in better shape than they are. But I agree that the exact like season script for them is the same. I agree.
I think we're going to continue to see them drop 30-plus points a game, but they're going to lose games where they give up 40 points.
I agree.
That's going to be what happens. But I think, with the trade deadline coming up, I'd like to see a defensive move there. We have Demario Overshown coming back. That should be a huge boost, but I just don't know how much better it'll make the overall unit. I think Trayvon Diggs has probably played his last snap in Dallas. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done. So that's another thing. But, yeah, the defense is really handicapped. But we have this. It's just something for the offseason to look forward to, I guess, even though it's week 7 to fix that.
All right.
Waste the whole year. Prime Dak.
Before we get into